Hey, Patrick.
Hey, Safder, how you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you?
Well, great. Thank you for showing up today. I'm just kicking it off right now. We're live, and I'm going to go through just a couple of slides here, and then I'm going to introduce you formally. Okay?
Perfect. Sounds good.
All right. Just hang on just a second. Well, folks,
Sure.
thanks for joining us on our live webinar today. As you can see and hear, we do have an interview live today with Safder Raza. He's a medical revenue manager. And I'll show you how you can get certified as a medical revenue manager as we go through the slides here today. So let me just start by introducing myself. My name is Patrick Phillips. I am the founder and CEO of American Business Systems. And we have a wonderful interview today live where you can actually ask questions to our guest during the webinar. I'll be looking at the question box as we go through the webinar and making sure that I see your questions there, and I'll address anything that you're addressing directly to the guest. So if you will today, just ask questions to the guest that you would ask him if you call him up on the phone. He is a licensee. He's been through our training, as you'll hear as we get into the details of the interview here in just a moment. I am chairman of the board of the Medical Revenue Management Association of America as well. You can go to their website there if you'd like to check out. That's who certifies you as a medical revenue manager for American Business Systems. I'm also a member of the editorial board of Billing and Coding Advantage magazine. This is a print magazine that has over 40,000 subscribers, and I have articles in most of the issues of that magazine as well. I'm also an author. You can find my books out on Amazon.com or at any of your local bookstores. We'll talk a little bit more about some of those books probably during the interview, but go check those out if you'd like to verify who I am. And if this is your first time to be on a webinar, then you know that I'm going to ask you to type in your city and state in the question box. So if you'll find the question box there in the GoToWebinar control panel and just type in your city and state, it'll show your name as well. And I'll just mention your first name and the city and state that you're in, just so you'll know that this is all live here and really happening right now. And I'll tell you a little bit more about what we do here in just a second. I see some people typing in, so I'm going to address those. Michelle, thank you. She's from Longmont, Colorado. And Guy is he's in Salt Lake City. I've got Mary in Douglasville, Georgia. And Rodney is in Pomona, New York. Denise is from Highland, California. Kavita is from Orlando, Florida. Omar is in the Woodlands, Texas. Richard is in San Jose. Tawanda is in Annapolis, Maryland. And let's see, Apollo Bliss is in Stoughton, Massachusetts. Michael is in Youngstown, Ohio. Lisette is in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Juan is from Tampa, Florida, and Randy is from San Antonio. That's all I see so far. So if anybody else shows up and types it in, I'll address those as well. Folks, we teach people how to use our cloud-based system that you're seeing here on the screen right now to do medical billing for doctors. But it's much, much more than that. That's why we certify you as a medical revenue manager. You're also able to offer them electronic medical records, a patient portal. All this is done through the cloud, which means you can access the system from any computer or device that's connected to the internet. Again, we don't go into details about those things today. You can find out more about those on our website that you see there at the bottom of the screen. And we do live training. There's one coming up in this month here in a couple of weeks from Monday, I think it is, January the 29th through the February 2nd. Right here at a Marriott hotel in the Dallas area, we do live training. And we have a very small classroom there. It's meant to be that way so we can personalize it for each one of our students. So if you want to be in this class, be sure and get back with the person who sent you the email to this webinar, and they'll give you the details as to how much it costs and how to get registered for it. And lock in your seats because that one is filling up fast. I'll tell you more about it towards the end. At the end of that training, we do certify you, as I said, as a certified medical revenue manager and give you a certificate to that effect. You can also come down here and visit us in the Keller, Texas. It's a little suburb of Fort Worth area. And just let us know that you're coming. We'll make sure that we can pick you up at the airport if you're flying in. And we'll meet you right there in our offices and get you a tour and let you see and meet all the staff members here. We are registered with the Fort Worth Better Business Bureau, and we have an A+ rating. That's the highest rating you can get. So go check them out as well. Now, at the end of the webinar today, I'm going to show you how to get this. This is a little one-sheet PDF file called the ABS Advantage. It compares us with other competitors out there. So if you'd like a copy of that, just hang on. I'll show you how to get that right at the end of the webinar. Okay, well, let's get our guest back on the phone here. Safder, are you still with us?
Yes, I am here, Patrick.
All right, Safder, thank you so much for taking time. I know you have a very busy business, and in fact, I think you're traveling for it right now. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, let's just get started, Safder. I'm going to kind of ask you a few questions here, real basic ones, and then I'm going to be looking at the question box. Folks, if you want to ask a direct question to Safder today, you just be sure and just let us know, and we will ask that directly to him. Let's get started by telling us when you actually went through our training here in Dallas.
It was 2009.
2009. That's wow. That's is that 8, 9? Yeah, 9 years ago.
9 years.
9 years.
Yes, exactly. Wow. I came there in January 2009.
You know, that seems like yesterday, Safder, doesn't it to you? I remember you being in that class. And in fact, I think I have a slide here of you actually standing there with our instructor and me and Eric Auger, who's is now the director of research and development. He was an assistant trainer back then, but yeah, you have really cleaned up a lot.
Yep.
Thanks for sending me that picture, by the way, of you there in the suit and tie. That's very professional. I'm sure you use that on your website and other places there. So that was 9 years ago. Now, let's talk about that, because if I remember, Safder, the last time I talked to you, you were working a full-time job at the time. And I don't think Huma, your wife, she didn't come with you to that training, did she?
No, she hasn't. Earlier, you know, either me or she could have attended the training because one of us has to work. So that's why she decided to stay and I came to the training.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. That's what a lot of people do. One of the spouse or partners will come down, and then later on, if the other one feels like they need to come through the training, and if we have spare seats, we certainly let them come through as well. So at the time, you were employed full time, right?
Yes.
And tell us about that. What was your background?
I had no medical background whatsoever, but once the market crashed in 2006. The revenue went down and we didn't know what to do, where to start. And anything we were looking into, it required a lot of capital upfront. And again, after investing the capital in, it was still not a guarantee that we would succeed. So we were looking for something with less upfront money and, better future.
And what exactly made you and Huma decide on this business versus a Subway sandwich shop or some of the others? Was it mainly the investment? That our investment is, of course, a whole lot less than Subway's.
Not only the investment, but we were looking into what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do, and then most importantly, we wanted to control our lifestyle, by letting us know how many hours we have to put in. Like if I'm going into a retail business, I have to be there like 10 to 9 or maybe more, depending on what kind of a business I am. But here with medical billing, I just have to work office hours Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and I'm done,
Now, just so people can kind of keep up with where you're at, of course, now you and your wife are both full-time in this, and don't you have some employees working for you now?
Yes, we have about 15 people working for us, and we have 2 locations. We have our head office is in Maryland, and then we have a branch office in Texas, Houston, and we have 2 houses. Summertime we live in Maryland. Wintertime we come to Houston because of the weather.
Yeah, I can imagine. So you're basing yourself right now out of Houston, I guess.
Yes.
So I don't know if you remember back, Safder, back to the live training workshop. Of course, I think Marilyn was the instructor back then. But what was your impression of that? Did you think that you were coming to learn everything there was about this business, or did you figure out pretty quick that we just give you the basics enough to get started, and then of course it's an ongoing thing. You're continually learning, aren't you?
Yes, we even after 9 years being in this business, I still think that I'm learning, and you still learn every day as you go. And Marilyn was one of the best instructors we had, and she did a wonderful job. She covered everything, whatever she could have within 1 week. Was awesome.
Yeah, the you're talking about the private website that we have for licensees. That there's a lot of training,
Yep.
probably more hours of training on that than there was in the live workshop, huh?
I agree. There you have a lot of material on your support website, and then also you're just one phone call away. If you need any support from any of you guys, you just call them, and then they will guide you. If you have an appointment with a new practice and you don't know where to start, how to talk to them, you guys guide with everything.
Yeah, and that support, of course, is still ongoing for you, isn't it? I mean, you have that access to our support people at no cost because that's part of your license fee, isn't it?
Because you guys had, I think it was 2 years of support back then, but you actually gave me a special deal and you gave me a lifetime support, and I was lucky. And but you now offer a lifetime support anyways. Yes.
Yes, I remember that, Safder, because back then, like you said, 9 years ago, we were just offering, I think, 2 years support. But at one point we decided, well, since we make money off of all of the services that you offer to doctors, then why not offer support forever at no cost? And so that's what we do now. And the training is continuing at no cost as well. We do webinars. I'm going to do one on Friday, in fact, for our licensees. We have several instructors and other guest people who come on and do those webinars for us. So somewhere down the line, I know you're busy, but I'd love for you to give one of those webinars at some point as well.
I'm definitely looking forward to it, Patrick.
Now, I know one thing that people are asking, of course, is about how long it took you after the training to get a client. Can you kind of explain that?
Let me just go back one step and let me tell this to you. When everyone else is listening to me, I am going to do anything and everything to help ABS and any prospective licensee who is not sure if he wants to go with ABS or no. ABS was the best decision I have made in my life, and I am thankful that I am in whatever position I am today. And I really appreciate it from bottom of my heart.
Well, thank you, Safder. I really appreciate that. That's unusual that somebody actually, voices that to me. And so you don't know what that means to me. It means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Patrick. You can go with the next question.
Yeah, basically, your situation back then, again, you were working full time, and then at some point, I don't know how much longer after the training, but it was quite a while before you actually, uh, devoted full time to it and went out and started marketing to get your first client, right?
Yeah. So what happened was every individual thinks that he is the smartest person, and I used to think the same way, and I thought that I can do whatever I want to do and I can find clients without following what ABS was telling me to do. And that was a mistake I made, and it took me a while. And then we ran out of all the savings we had, and we literally had to go back and we had to work full time, both me and my wife. And then after a year, and then we started again, and I just contacted that support, and then support guided me from scratch, and we found our client, and that's it. And then once we had like 4 clients, both me and my wife, we started working full time for our business.
Yeah. So after you did get back to the business, how long did it take you to get that first client after you started doing what we had taught you to do?
After whatever, when I started following ABS system, it took me, I think, about 6 months, little over 6 months, to find my first client.
Yeah. And so what type of client was that first client?
I had the first client we got was a plastic surgeon.
Oh, a plastic surgeon.
Mhm.
That would be a good client, I would assume. Is he still doing billing for him?
Oh no, actually he passed away last year, and he was the sweetheart. He was a great person. He had so much trust in me, but he had cancer, and he passed away last year. So
Oh, he passed away. Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. So what did you do at that point? You said you had 4 clients at some point. How did you get the other clients?
So once we started doing the billing for the plastic surgeon guy, he actually liked us and he referred me and he put me in front of his other colleagues, and that's how I got my other three clients.
Okay, so once he was happy with your service, he referred you to other doctors. So, Safter, what types of other clients do you? Well, let me back up. Let's jump ahead to today. How many clients do you actually bill for now?
Right now, we have over little over 25 clients. I just don't want to give you the exact number, but we are way over, like about 25.
About 45.
Not 25, 25.
Oh, 25. Okay. And so when you say you have people who are doing some of the billing for you, so obviously is Huma still involved in the business doing the billing, or does she just manage those other people?
She does the management side of the business. She doesn't do the billing, but she manages the entire office, the back end.
The back end. So do you consider yourself like the front end, the marketing guy, the one that's contacting the doctors?
Yeah, so I basically work with the doctors if they have any issues or anything. So they call me and I take care of the issues. And then I do the marketing. I go and do the meet with the prospective clients and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. There's a question came in here from Guy. He says, Safter, this is a competitive market. How do you stand out to get clients?
So it's a very good question. Anything you go out and you try to find, there is a competition for anything and everything. So you have to be at the right time, right place. So basically, there are doctors who have already, have system in place. They are doing what they are supposed to do, but you have to find the guy who is in trouble, and you need to help them, and that's it. The other way to put this is, I say that, the question I ask, like to the person who asked me this question is, when do you have to go and see a doctor? When you have some kind of problem with your body. So if you have stomach pain, or neck pain, or some kind of pain, you go and you see a doctor, and the doctor prescribes you medicine. Same thing. Every doctor has some kind of a problem. It can be a cash flow problem. It can be billing problem. It can be follow-up problem. So you just go and you present yourself that you are the specialist and you can help them with their financial situation.
Yeah, so really it's just a matter of, like you said, finding their pain, just like they find your pain, and
Yep.
solving that with the services that we have.
I just call myself cash flow doctor. I say that I specialize in cash flow, and if you have any problem with your cash flow, I can prescribe you cash flow antibiotics.
Yeah, cash flow is really what every business is all about. Bottom line, you got to have cash flow or you'll be out of business soon. Now, what about, do you have any sales reps? Somebody's asking here, what's the best way to market is sales reps?
Yeah, when we started, Patrick, when we started, I was doing the marketing, but right now I have two people working for me.
Okay. And are they independent contractors just, paying them on a commission?
Yes, they are independent contractors. I pay them commission.
Right. So you're not out anything unless they bring you a contract with a setup fee from the doctor.
Yep.
And Safter, do you give them any sort of ongoing revenue from that, or is it just the upfront commission?
The way I started doing this is, so any sales rep brings me a client, I pay them a percentage out of the percentage they make them sign the contract. So I just pay them an ongoing revenue.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That locks them in.
Yep.
Uh, I wished I knew that I'm pronouncing this name right. Apollon Bliss says, "Can you be in another state to do this? Do you have any clients out of state? I guess you do."
Yeah, because I just signed up a new account by the same name. So that's why I was kind of like surprised.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, so I guess the basic bottom line is, out of all the doctors that you have, how did you get most of them?
Most of my clients are referral based.
Okay, so yeah, so you basically just do a good job for the clients, and they all know other doctors, I guess, and can refer them to you.
Yeah, that's what happened. Mostly I get referrals. I just signed up a big practice. They have, they collect the revenue of almost 700,000 a month. They have 6 locations. And I just like 2 weeks ago, I just signed up the contract.
Oh, fantastic! What a great client there. That
Yep.
that can mean that'll mean some nice revenue for your company as well, won't it?
Oh yeah, that's keeping me busy for the new year. I don't have time.
Now, that question has also come up. Bob wants to know, how do you charge the doctors? Can you give them a feel? Because some people don't understand, how you're actually charging the doctor for what you do.
It all depends. When I go and meet a client, I do the analysis to see what exactly their problem is and what expectations they have from me. And based on their requirements, I uh, give them a deal anywhere between 5 and 7%. It all depends on what they need.
Yeah, so 5 to 7%. Yeah, that's typical. I have heard of licensees who charge, 8%, 9%. It just depends on the doctor and their volume and how much work is involved, I guess. But we do help with that for people, at least at the beginning, who are struggling with how do I charge. As part of your review of your proposals, our staff here are trained to talk to you about what the typical charge should be. Of course, it's your business; you can charge anything you want. But the biggest problem most people have, Safter, is charging too little. Have you charged less than you should have on any of your clients?
Initially, like I have to do that for like maybe 1 or 2 clients because I was desperate to get some new business, but not right now. So I just do business on my terms. I tell them I actually go one step ahead and I say, if we don't do certain things and if a claim gets denied because we have not done something on our end, then we guarantee money back. Guarantee like we will pay for that claim. So if the claim value is $100, I guarantee that $100 if it is because of us.
Ah, okay. Yeah, good. Let's see. David wants to know, how difficult is it to run the claims? In other words, the actual process of submitting the claims for the doctor. How difficult is that?
It's it's very simple. I don't know how to answer that, but it's very very easy. Very easy. It's like you know, as long as you know how to log into the computer, and just you just need to have some basic knowledge about computers, and everything is very simple.
Yeah, so maybe a better way of saying that, assuming that you have the patient demographic information in there, their address, phone number, insurance, and so forth. What would it take for a patient who is a return patient? They've come back here the second visit to the doctor to actually, put in the data for their claim. How many minutes do you think it would
So
take?
to be honest with you, Patrick, in today's world, every doctor has an EMR, and they usually enter the charges through the EMR. We, as the billing company, we just look at the claim and we make sure everything is entered correctly. If there are any modifiers which are missing, we just put in the modifiers and we submit the claim.
Yeah, yeah. So it literally could take a couple of minutes at the most, huh?
To submit one claim, I would say like maybe less than a minute, depending on which practice you're working for. But for a general practice, like a internal practice or something like that, yeah, minute or two, that's it.
Right. Here's a question from Linda. She says, "Do you work medical exhibits?" I guess she's talking about trade shows and things like that. Have you ever done any of those?
Yes, oh yes, I followed your system, and that's where I found my first client, my plastic surgeon.
Oh, you found your first client using our trade show display that you can borrow.
Yep.
Great. That's super. John wants to know, do you charge on collected revenue only?
Yes, we don't charge on co-pays or anything which doctors collect at their office. We charge on anything we collect from the insurance or patients after we send out the statement to patients.
Right.
One thing I just wanted to extend this to you, anyone who is attending this webinar today, feel free to share my contact number with them. and I'm more than happy to speak with them. I cannot promise when, but I will try my best to at least talk to everyone and tell my experience personally if anyone wants to talk to me.
Well, thank you, Safder. That's very generous of you. I will. I think what I'll do is just tell everybody to send an email in to us from the person who sent you the email, to come to this webinar, and we'll pass that along to everyone. Safder's contact. Randy wants to know about denied claims. What is the process?
So it depends on practice to practice. If you have a good front office person, and if they know what they are doing, and if they do the things the right way, then the denials are very minimal. But if the front office is not doing the work what they are supposed to do, then you will have higher denials. The part of education we do when we take over the new client is we educate the front office, we provide some training, and we tell them how it is important for them to do what they are supposed to do in order to have too much work on our own.
Okay, Kim and Eddie want to know, how do you approach a doctor about situations on billing? I guess they're really asking, how do you approach a doctor about their billing? That just depends on the situation, I guess, how you met the doctor, huh?
To answer that question, the best thing is ABS has a system. Once you become a licensee of ABS, they will train you how to approach the doctor based on the situation you are in.
Yeah, I mean, we teach about a dozen different ways now in the training how to get clients, and so all of those work, and they all have a very special way. But to answer that question kind of specifically, Kim and Eddie, we're encouraging you to not do any selling. We just educate the doctor on their need for looking at their revenue, and we put doubts in their mind about whether they're collecting everything they should, and then we do a practice analysis, a free practice analysis that you do for the doctor, and then it gives you the information that you need to come back with a proposal for them. So that's the basic way we do that. Riley wants to know, what was your schedule like when you first started signing clients? What was your day-to-day routine?
So I used to go and visit. I used to select a neighborhood, and I used to go and I drop down my brochures, some candies, my business card to each and every doctor's office. And I did that for almost 6 months. So my job was to just go and put my card, my brochure, and anything and everything in front of every doctor's office. So I used to select a neighborhood, and I used to just go there, drop it out, and then I used to follow up 2 weeks down the road.
Yeah, that's one of the things we teach people. It's not what you think of as cold calling as much as just leaving educational material with the doctor's office, picking up their business card, and putting that into your hopper, so to speak. And like you said, Safder, the follow-up is very important on that, isn't it?
Yes.
Rodney wants to know if you have employees at your other offices, or are they independent consultants?
So I have employees. The billing office I have set up is in Houston. So all my billing work is done from Houston office.
Oh, I see. And those are actual employees sitting there at computers in that office.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rodney, a lot of people, build this business fairly good size to a 6-figure income and don't ever open an office because the doctors don't really care. They don't come to your office, you go to theirs. And so a lot of folks still work out of their home that, have a handful of doctors that are making them, pretty good money. Sepida, hope I'm saying that right, Sepida. What kind of software did you use other than QuickBooks? Well, Safda, you may have missed the very first part of our webinar here, and maybe you haven't gone to our website, but we have a cloud-based system. It's called iClaim, and I'll see if I can get back to that here and show you that slide. But it's our own cloud-based medical billing system, and then we have an electronic medical record system called EMRX that you're using. So that's part of why you pay us a license fee to go through our training, to have our lifetime support and ongoing training. And you have, of course, access to these softwares that I'm showing here on the screen. Um, let's see. Denise wants to know, Safder, when starting up your business, were you financially comfortable starting up, or did you have concerns?
Yeah, so I said to you before, Patrick, we were not doing very well financially, and that's why it took us a while before we started this full time. So we have to take one step at a time until we were comfortably living on the business revenue. So it took us a while, but it wasn't a great situation when I started my business.
Well, that's you're being very honest, and a lot of people are in that same situation when they start out, especially if they don't have a job at the time that they come through our training. They feel the pinch. But and of course, some of our licensees go out and in the first 30 days get a client, but then others it takes longer. You said it took you 6 months. So folks, you just need to be aware of the fact that this is not a get rich quick scheme. This
Yes.
is a real business. But
Yeah.
once you get a client, I'm sure you have some clients now, Safder, that are ongoing, making you a pretty good residual income each month.
Yep, it is indeed. And then just to make the callers feel good, guys, I just booked my new Tesla.
Oh, you placed an order for a Tesla.
Yeah.
All right. Is it the Model S or X?
It's going to be the X.
Oh yeah, that little SUV. You know, I have a Model S myself.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a great car.
Yeah, it's sitting in the garage charging right now. Sapitas wants to know, do you have any dentists as a client?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And is the claim process the same, says Tawanda, for dentists?
No, it's completely different process. Dentists usually they don't have too much billing involved. They deal a lot of cash patients and other stuff. But we don't have to, like, it's completely a different way of doing dental billing. But I just wanted to be competitive, and I didn't want it to turn around anyone who comes to me. So I got my dental billing through one of my very good clients. His dentist, she was in trouble, and he referred me to her, and she became my client.
Ah, good. All right. John wants to know, do you resubmit denied claims?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, that's all a part of that whole process, isn't it? I mean, to get every penny that the doctor is owed, sometimes you have to resubmit the claims, but it's not that big a deal. You do it within our system, of course.
It's called revenue cycle management, and this is part of the revenue cycle management. You have to resubmit a claim. Sometimes you have to appeal on a claim until the claim gets paid.
Yeah. Let's see. Bliss wants to know, does the license expire? No, Bliss. There's not any expiration date on our license. You are an ABS licensee for the rest of your life, as long as you're in our business, of course. Let's see. Now, this is Richard. He was talking about how much money do you recommend needed for educational material to leave with your prospects. And Richard, by the way, you get over 2,000 pieces of personalized literature printed as a part of your license fee. So we have a lot of licensees that never spend anything more than that for that literature. But have you spent a lot for literature and materials yourself, Safder?
Not really. Once I became the licensee, I had everything I needed business. And then as I succeeded with my business, I have to make changes accordingly. So I have to print out new literature, whatever. But it's not much. Printing out material is really cheap.
Yeah, he goes on to say, are you selective who you leave the material with, or do you just leave it with every potential client?
I look at things the way I like. Anyone who has a private practice is my potential client. So I always try to leave. If I'm visiting my client who is an existing client and there is an office next to her or him, I just try to just go there and just leave my literature and tell them that, hey, I do the billing for your next door doctor. If you have any problem, just call me.
Yeah. Richard says, you mentioned that most doctors have electronic medical record systems. Is that a challenge or an obstacle to get new clients?
Depends again. So there are a lot of doctors who have made bad decisions because they were not sure which EMR to go with. And if you can show them how efficiently the new EMR can help them, or the web-based EMR can help them, they are pretty much open to it. It all depends on which situation you're into, and you just have to go and talk to them and see what exactly they're looking for.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It really is unique to every situation, isn't it? Let's see. Kim and Eddie asked a question here about certification. What would you have at the end of the training? Kim, Eddie, our certification is the only certification that you need to do medical billing for any doctor in the United States. There are a lot of different certifications that are out there, but none of them are, officially, sanctioned by the U.S. government or anything like that. So, Safder, you haven't had any questions about certification or anything like that, have you, from doctors?
Nope.
No, they're just not concerned about that as long as they know that you've at least been through some training. And of course, you can also position yourself as being a part of the nation's largest network of medical revenue managers. That's us. And so that assures doctors that you have a lot of people behind you. Folks, we have over 100 people in support of our licensees, with all of our technology partners. So you've got a big network behind you. You're just not out there by yourself.
Exactly.
And Kim and Eddie also asked, how much terminology do you really need to know?
So that's a very good question. I sometimes I literally I think about this, and I had zero knowledge when I started. In 9 years, I have learned a lot. I still don't know a lot of terminologies when I go and try to accommodate people who have never done the billing in the specialties. So I just got a pain management doctor. I have never done the billing for it. But when I went there, he started talking to me about pain management and whatnot. Then I said, hey, the codes are same. The modifiers are different. If there is anything we have resources we can find out, and we can do your billing. But the beauty of us is we do the follow-ups on any denied claims in a timely manner, so that end of the day you get paid. And I got the account. It all depends on how you talk and what you say. That's more important than the terminology.
Yes, and you can always, reference the fact that, I need to get back with my insurance manager at the office, and I'll have them fill me in on some of those questions that you asked. If you don't know the answer to a question, well, that's us. Us and our vast array of support people can always answer any question for you that you've got while you're out there. Now, Guy says, do you use the other services that ABS offers besides the billing, and are they easy to market to your clients? Do you sell or market any of the ancillary services?
Anything and everything, whatever ABS offers, because I just need to open my door to get in there. So I don't try to go with one product. I always go with multiple products to tell them that how I am different from other people out there.
Yeah, that's what they want to know. What's the thing that makes you stand out? And of course, we've got lots of unique things about our software that keeps people from finding it anywhere else from any other medical biller in their area. We've got the unique system that's out there. The only one with a built-in clearinghouse, by the way, which makes a huge advantage over the other medical billing companies. Kim and Eddie, you mentioned that medical terminology is what you meant earlier, and I think I realized that, but I'm not sure if we addressed that for you. But during that week of training, we give you all the information and all the terminology that you need to get out there and get started. It's not as difficult as you think it is. In fact, by the end of the week, you will know more than 99% of all the office managers about medical billing. So you'll be way ahead.
Let me answer this question, Patrick, if it is okay with you.
Sure.
So the way you have to look at it is, there are a lot of people who think that they can go to a college and they can do the medical billing course, or they can go online and they can register for a medical billing course. They can do whatever they want to do. Once you're a certified biller, according to whatever the website is telling, and you want to start your business, then you don't know where to start. And that's where ABS comes in picture, and ABS shows you where to start and what to do next. So if you want to go and work for a doctor's office and you want to become a certified medical biller, that's a different thing. But if you want to start your own business, then ABS shows you step by step what to do, how to talk, what to present, that kind of stuff. So they have a proven system, and you guys have more chances of being successful going with ABS than going by yourself.
Yeah, it does help to have, well, in fact, my wife and I started our own billing company back in the late 80s. Of course, it wasn't as high tech as it is nowadays, but we did get one started, doing it all on paper at the time and using a typewriter. So it's not that somebody couldn't start their own business, but Safder, wouldn't you assume that most people would spend more time and money trying to figure this out on their own and put all the pieces together that we have, you know, and would spend more money than our license fee is?
Yep.
Let's see. Okay, here's one from John says, does your client have to use your EMR or can they keep their own?
So it all depends on what the client is looking for. You can always give them a demo. It all depends on the requirements of the client.
Yeah, that's right. Bliss wants to know, what's the downside to this business?
The downside of this business, that's a great question. The downside of this business is, people think that once they become a ABS licensees, the clients will come to them. No, that's wrong. So you have to go out as if you're going out to work every day, and you have to find your clients. If you don't, then you will not succeed. And that's the downside. So once you become a licensee and you don't do what you're supposed to do, then you will not succeed. So the only downside here is, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, you will succeed, and there is no downside to it. So the only downside is like if you don't do it.
Right. If you put it on the shelf, right?
Yep.
Omar says, when you started, did you already have an LLC or a corporation? And if not, at what point did it make sense for you to create one?
I had no idea where to start. I had just followed whatever you guys have said to me. And then I incorporated my business, and and your tax benefits you have given me, Patrick, if you remember, 300 ways of tax benefits where we can write off towards the business expense.
Right.
That was great too. I'm still using it.
Right. Yeah, Omar, we do have a session that we cover that, business basics as to how to set up an entity if you don't have one. So that's a part of the training as well. Rocco's talking about how many clients you have, and I guess he's wondering how many clients does he add each year with all of his marketing to bring you to your current 25 clients.
It all depends. When we had 10 clients, I stopped doing any marketing. I was not taking any new clients. And then I started again after a couple of years. And now this year, beginning of the year, I got this big client. So I'm not going to try and get any new clients until mid-year, like maybe June. But after June, I might try to get more clients. But it all depends on how much you can accommodate.
Yeah.
And there is no limit, as long as you can do what you're supposed to do, there is no limit how many clients you can bring in.
Sure. Well, you've proven that. I mean, yeah, you got 2 offices, thinking about opening a 3rd one, and 25 clients. That's a nice business, Safder. You've done well. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Patrick.
Lisette wants to know where else do you advertise your business? I guess besides the journals. Do you do any advertising other than that?
Like most of my referrals are, like my business is referral, and doctors refer me new doctors. Apart from that, I do journals, and maybe very minimum, I have some kind of online marketing. That's it. Like, for example, I use Constant Contact. So all these doctors I have in my database, when I started my business, when I was trying to get their billing, I have dumped into that Constant Contact, and I just email everyone for holidays, for whatever it is. I just send them an email, some information about my business. Like if I'm opening my 3rd office, hey, we are doing this, we are doing great, we are ready to open our 3rd office. Our second office has done this, some kind of information to make sure that they are aware that I'm still alive and my business is still alive, up and running, so that, if someone has some kind of a requirement, they will call me.
Yeah, you want to keep your business name at the top of their mind, don't you? That's an important point. We teach that in the training. Always keep your name up there in front of them, so that if they do need other services that you provide, they'll think of you, not somebody else.
Yep.
John wants to know, do you provide a website and SEO? That's John, that's something that we do provide a website, but we don't actually provide the SEO. That's something you have to do on your own. We do talk about that.
But let me just tell this, Patrick.
Yeah.
SEO, you have a targeted clients. So for me, my clients are anywhere, everywhere, nationwide. So if I have to find a client in Chicago, I cannot have SEO working for me. Search engine optimization is good for if I have a retail business and I want to target 5 miles radius. It is great return for your business. But this kind of businesses, it's not very easy. You can have SEO where your office is registered, but it was not a great help for me. So I'm going to be honest with you. SEO, you can try to find clients with that, but it is not very helpful.
Yeah, thanks, Safder. I agree. Since your territory is the whole United States, you can't zero in on any one particular location with that. Now, having said that, I am probably not as up on the search engine optimization that John's asking about as some people are in our company here. So, John, that might be something you could address back with the person who sent you the email to this webinar. John also asked, does your client have to use your EMR, or can they keep their own? I think we addressed that, didn't we? They could use their own EMR, couldn't they? Safder, I think he's asking, do they have to use our EMR, our electronic medical records?
So I will always go and give them an option if they are looking for one. So we can give a demo to them, and we can always tell them to look into it. The price and everything is great. So, when you give them a billing price, you will give them a proposal in such a way that they don't come out of pocket to use our EMR. But it all depends on what the clients need. But to answer your question, they don't have to use our EMR. No.
Right. Rocco asked a similar question. How many of your 25 clients used the EMRX from ABS?
I have to look into it. Maybe I would say few of them, not many.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just an option, right? I mean, like you said, they can use ours if they want to. Many doctors already have one, and so we try to work with what they already have. How about this one? John says, how much to use your clearinghouse? John, there really is no cost. Our clearinghouse is built into our system. However, there is an access fee that you charge to the doctor to access our system. Since they can access the parts of the system that you want them to access, like the electronic medical records and the patient portal and so forth, then there is an access fee for that. That just depends on the doctor, whether he's full-time or part-time, and a lot of other factors. Safda says, can we use ABS as our reference to our clients when they ask about our experience?
That's what I did when I gave the reference for my very first client. I used ABS.
Right.
My trainer actually was my reference.
Okay, yeah. And we also have doctor references. If your prospective doctor watches one of our live demos that we do for you, then we'll give them names of doctors who actually are in their field. Yeah. Safder, thank you again for your time. I'm going to let you go. Appreciate it so much. I'm going to answer a few more questions here for folks and tell them about our upcoming training class. And so you stay in touch and let me know what I can do to help, Safder.
Sure, sounds good, Patrick. I'll talk to you later. Take care.
Thanks again. Bye-bye.